Okay. So you are going to take a ruler to divide your paper into 12 sections. So that means you are going to make 6 crosses on the page. So I'm going to take my ruler. I'm actually going to grab a larger ruler, so don't mind me. There we go. That should work a little better. A larger ruler that will reach across my paper. I might be working on a larger piece of paper than some of you, and that's okay. So I'm going to go from one corner to the other, draw a line. So now I have 2 sections, and I'm going to do this until I have 12. So drawing one other corner to another, I have 4. Now I have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna draw one over here. 7, 8. And your sections may wind up being a little bit different than mine. So let's see how many I have now. I'm gonna hold my finger, and you can double check how many sections if you lose count. So I'm just trying to model my addition practices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I need 2 more. And I think one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to erase this middle line right here and cut those pieces in half. If you have a compass and would like to make these sections equal, you can do so, but if you do not have one, no worries. That's just an option if you'd like. And it doesn't matter if my design looks a little bit funny on the inside, because that's where my selfie is gonna wind up going. So I'm gonna take a tape roll and draw a circle. And I know that at some point I'm going to have my self-portrait right in the middle. So now I'm going to mark out neatly in a way that will make everything nice and clear where my collage sections are and where my drawn sections are. So I'm going to leave my drawn sections nice and neat, and where I put an X is where I'm going to do some of my collage sections. And these need to be every other, so I'm going to draw an X, skip a space, X, skip a space, X, skip, X, skip, X, skip, and X. And then I'm going to number them. You can arrange these however you want, but you're going to have your 6 sections that will equal your 6 brainstorm sections. So I think I'll probably work on my Harry Potter section today, which is like my favorite pop culture thing. And then maybe I'll do my family one here. Then I will do my fears, my hobbies. What are my other ones? My brain is not allowing me to catch up. There we go. Future plans. So I'll say FP. And then, oh, the 3 words. So now I know where they're going to wind up going. Now you may want to just draw today. You may want to work on these Zentangled sections. So if that's something that interests you, you can pull up your Zentangle inspiration guide and inspiration packet, and you can work in the unnumbered sections as much as you'd like today. And what's nice about these unnumbered sections is I'm going to wind up collaging up to this line, so it's okay if I have a little bit of overlap from my section. So I'm going to start by, I think I'm going to wind up doing a design that's going to link all of my collage sections together, but you may wind up doing something completely different. You can free draw different designs. You can reference the examples that I have in the presentation for that. And I'm just gonna work on one at a time, but I wanted to get some of my design started. And I'm gonna go through, and I'm actually taking inspiration directly from the cover of my Zentangle inspiration guide. So if you've seen it, I can pull it up on the screen with a printed out version here. What I'm drawing right now is, I really like these stripes here. We don't need to unmute ourselves right now. And I'm gonna keep going until I have this whole area finished. And like I said, it's okay if I go over those lines a little bit. And I think I'll wind up doing another section like this, and then I'll move on. Now I'm gonna play with different sized Sharpies as I work. I think I have another Sharpie somewhere. I had one in my hand just before class started. There we go. And you can play with your colored markers, but I'm gonna do a nice, intricate, detailed drawing in each of my sections where my collage is not going. So once I'm done drawing these little X's, we'll work on some of our collage. And you can skip around. Again, you don't have to do the same design in each section. I would like to, because I want my designs to be a little bit cohesive. But now I'm gonna go through and gather some of my images that are going to pertain to my Harry Potter slice. So this slice right here. So I have some of my printed images here, and I know that I want to make the background of this slice this image here, and then I'm going to collage on top of it. So looking at my project, it looks like I need to give myself a nice clean line. And what I'm gonna actually wind up doing is a handy little trick. I'm going to put my ruler on top of my paper, and I'm going to draw a line. Hi, Arvin. I know you were at speech. No worries. And I know that this is going to fit right here. And then with my pencil, I think this is going to wind up going there. You might wind up collaging a very different way than I am, but I just want to show you an idea to start. So my line is nice and neat. Yours may not wind up being quite as neat as mine. I'm not too worried about this middle section right here because I know that my self-portrait, the photo of myself, is gonna go right in the middle, and you can choose any photo you want there. I'm going to grab a glue stick that I have handy. If you have a glue bottle, that might work a little bit better. And I'm gonna start gluing down right on top of my paper, making sure I have enough glue to stick my image down. And I'm gonna allow my paper to hang off of the side of the page. So this is hanging off of the edge a little bit. That's okay, because I can trim that later. And I know that I'm gonna wind up kind of changing some things as I go. I have my 3 other images here. So I have my little cat plate, like Professor Umbridge hangs on the wall of her office. I'll cut that out nice and neat. And I'm gonna go all the way around the edge, because my favorite book is The Order of the Phoenix. So for me, this helps symbolize that. And I think I'm gonna have it hang off of the page up here. And I wanna make sure that I'm only gluing it within its slice. So my cat is not gonna go out here. But if you do wind up doing something like that, what you can do is just make a mark knowing that you're going to wind up cutting that section. So sorry, kitty cat. I have to give you a little trim. And this is gonna hang right up to that edge, or be glued right up to that edge with my glue stick. And now it is a nice clean line. So I would like to see very clean division or divided lines, separation lines between your pieces. And then I'll have my little teacup hanging out there. Now, like I mentioned, you might choose to work on your drawn portions the entire time today or first, and that is absolutely okay. You can collage last, or if you would like to collage first, you could do that as well, and then draw later. So I'm just cutting this out, and then for my little teacup, I want to make sure that I see that backed. So I'm actually going to be doing a little precision cut. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. A little bit better. All right, I like the way that looks. And I'm going to draw a line here because I see that that will be where I trim. And then I'll add a little glue. It's okay if I get glue in places. Boop. And then I have my books and a few other things to add. I'll add my book probably to this like center portion, but I'll do that on my own. And you can start to go back and forth if you would like. So if you get a little bit tired of collaging and you want to start to work on your Zentangle again, you may. But the last thing that we will wind up adding is the image of yourself in the middle. Now, one other thing I just want to say before we get started, or before you get started, is grab an extra piece of paper. You may decide to rearrange your project in a way differently than mine. You might want your self-portrait to live up in a corner, and that's okay. So you could draw your circle up in that corner, and then you can start to divide your paper into the 12 sections from there. So you may have some sections that wind up being larger, and that is okay. So I'm going to go through 2, 3, and I'm doing mine right now in Sharpie, but you can use pencil for the start of this. So that's 6, 8, 10, and I'll go through and I'll do this one, and that'll give me 12. Now if I continue that, that'll give me my 12 sections, and you can kind of play around. So remember, each section should correspond with one of the answers on your questionnaire that we filled out last class. Your answers can change a little bit if you would like them to. And if you're collaging today, again, we're gonna fix this little edge later, so don't worry too much about that. We'll kind of go in and worry about that later on. And then you're Zentangling on the in-between sections. So you can see my little like every other design.